Yeah.
All right, I just logged into connected Zoom to YouTube. They got to make this part easier, right? This is like takes forever.
How do you know when it's on?
Honestly,
it says on there it's live.
Any second, yeah. We should be going any second here.
And you can copy the link. I see the YouTube link on the top left there. We can just copy the stream.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. It caught the last few seconds. All right. Hello, everybody. This is Doyle Bueller, and we're at the Livestreaming Decoded show, part number 3. And we've got the amazing Keith Keller as my co-host, and we also have Hani Muro from Repurpose.io. So welcome, gentlemen, to the show.
Welcome. Yeah, thanks so much. We're doing Zoom today, and we're trying it out on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. So we finally got connected. It took a while, but it seems to be working okay. So, all right. So Keith, tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay. So this show is Livestreaming Decoded. And the first part was Be Live, because Doyle understood how to use Be Live. And you can go to Be Live, Facebook Live, YouTube, 2 at one time. Quite cost effective, looks great, pretty easy to use. So we thought, why don't we do a show about all the different types of live streaming variations, and there's hundreds, or at least 30 that I know of. So we thought, why don't we do a show about that? So last week we did StreamYard, simple to use, 5 sites simultaneously, up to 6 guests seamlessly. And I mentioned that because today we're trying Zoom. And a little bit of preamble here. This show is all about us decoding behind the background, so you don't have to. You don't have to do these experiments we're doing, because we're doing them. So we were going to use Ecamm, which is a site designed specifically for Mac. I don't have a Mac, but Doyle does. But the amazing thing, in spite of the fact that Ecamm can live stream in 4K, very 2020, you have to connect with Skype. Very 80s, right? And so I did this poll. We're going to talk about this Twitter poll. How many people use Skype? 500 people just couldn't wait to give their opinion. And
it went pretty quick.
It was unbelievable. In 3 days, we got 500 votes. We're going to talk about this a little bit more in the show, because we've got another poll about why live stream at all. But like, Skype's not a thing. Only 10% of people say they've used it in the last century.
Don't tell Skype that, or don't tell Microsoft that.
But so we couldn't do Ecamm. We just had to abandon Ecamm as a site.
We might come back with it later.
We might come back. So then we decided we'd do Zoom. It's always been on our radar to do a show on Zoom, because Zoom has this streaming feature, and we're currently streaming to YouTube, one at a time. It's pretty basic. And Doyle, he'll talk about this a bit later, he had a lot of trouble connecting it. It just didn't work.
To Facebook. Yeah,
work.
To Facebook.
Tried several times. And so this is the show we're doing. We're doing the show where we actually pull apart how hard it is for the average person in the street to live stream. We don't have teams of people that we can call on. We do it ourselves, right? We're entrepreneurs. We're bootstrapping it. So I'm very fascinated by this show, and we're in part 3. We're going to talk a bit about Zoom, but we're also going to talk about Repurpose.io, which has an amazing idea coming very, very soon. So you've got to hang around to hear about that. But what are your thoughts on what happened this week? What happened to you this week, mate? Did I wrap it up well, or was there
no, that was really good. That was fantastic. Compilation, let's say, Keith.
Compilation.
So, yeah. Let's get Hani in here. Hani, welcome. Tell us about yourself.
Thanks, guys. My name is Hani Mora. I'm the founder of Repurpose.io, which is a platform that takes content, live streams, podcasts, any kind of content, and helps you get it out to multiple social platforms to give you maximum exposure. And we do everything after the fact. So when you're live streaming, when you're done, the software can help you repurpose it into little clips, into full episodes, put it on this platform, Twitter, LinkedIn, all that good stuff. We can talk more about that a little bit later, but yeah, I'm a big fan of repurposing content. I'm a big fan of automation. Those are like my 2 favorite words: automate and repurpose.
Well, and that's really fundamentally what that does, right? Repurpose.io, that actually allows that automation for creating a live stream, and maybe we can get into some of the details a bit later, but creating that live stream and then being able to use it on other channels. Because as everybody knows, whoever creates a live stream or a video or whatever the case may be, if it just sits there, if you don't reuse it, if you don't kind of take those pieces, those assets with you, you kind of just lose it. And then it's like, well, what's the point? So
yeah, look, I think it's a very, very key point. I've known friends of mine who say, mate, I just stream and there it is. Well, what then? Well, you get 12 views and you let it sit there. I mean, what a waste. Why not take a little bit of time, bit of AI, and plug it into a site and pump it out on as a podcast, and then pump it out on little snippets. I can't wait to hear how this site works, because I haven't been using it.
So first though, Hanny, which is your top 3 live streaming platforms in order?
Ooh, in order. That's a tricky one. The top 2, I would say definitely StreamYard and BeLive, because they're powerful and they're simple to use. They're both like plug and play browser. You don't need any downloading any software. You're good to go. Number 3, I'll be honest, I never tried Zoom for live streaming. I do it just for like little interviews and meetings and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Today, for the first time though, I did try the native Facebook. I went on Facebook, I clicked go live right from my Google browser, and it took me to a new thing called this Live Producer or something. It looked pretty cool.
Wow.
So I tried that out. It's pretty cool. You can throw up polls and ask questions and stuff. I played with it for like, 10, 15 minutes. It looked cool. I didn't see an ability to bring in a guest. So if you're doing a solo show, it makes sense. But if you're bringing in guests, it may not make sense. But that was simple to use as well. And anything native to Facebook is just, I don't know, just fire up your browser, log into Facebook, and just say go live. It's definitely, but definitely from the ease of use and power, BeLive and StreamYard.
And do you normally broadcast to Facebook or YouTube or any other channels that are like private groups or pages or personal profile?
Most of the time, it's I go live on a page, and there's a reason for that, because I know in the back of my mind I'm going to repurpose that content, and by doing it to a page, I have more flexibility. I can turn on automatic transcriptions. I can do a whole bunch of cool stuff that can help me automate the repurposing using repurpose.io. So by streaming to a page, it gives me more flexibility to do more stuff. Once in a while, like today, I went in the group. We had a special announcement. I went to talk to my personal group. I went live there. I know I'm not going to repurpose that. It's just specific to the group. But in general, if you want content to get more reach, and if you're planning ahead to repurpose that, going to a page is my recommendation, especially if you're going to connect it to our platform, repurpose.io. It gives you a lot more tools. You can do the transcriptions.
Can I pull apart why you do that? I'm not completely sure why you would stream to a page versus a group if you wanted to repurpose. Couldn't you do both?
You can do both. There is something in Facebook, at least for now, that Facebook gives you free automatic transcriptions on videos on your page. They don't do it for your group. The interface for like after you're done going live, to go back and edit the video on a page is much nicer. It gives you the option to do titles, upload custom thumbnails, generate automatic transcriptions, do all that nice stuff. On a group, it's just a simple page. If you have your own caption files that you get transcribed elsewhere, you can upload it to a video in a page. But I just find it when everything's in one place, and the key really was the automatic transcriptions. If you don't want to pay for transcriptions, then definitely.
I think that's an amazing. I didn't know that. I mean, I think the idea that live streaming to a page and getting automatic transcriptions. I'm guessing you get a recording on both a group and a page, or is it only on a page?
No, like once you go live, you have access to download the video from a page or a group, either way.
Because that is one of the advantages of live streaming to Facebook, isn't it? We won't get a recording from YouTube by doing it to YouTube, will we? It's almost impossible to get the video.
I'd be honest, I haven't streamed to YouTube yet. I'll be perfectly honest. I haven't streamed to YouTube. I've been focusing on Facebook. That's where my audience is. But I imagine there's a way to download it from within your profile, like within your YouTube channel. I imagine if you go to the video channel, I imagine you can download it. Maybe Doyle can confirm that.
Yeah.
I'm just a fan of going. I mean, maybe I don't have a big audience on YouTube yet, or maybe to me it's a new concept. I don't know why, even though it's been around for a while. I feel like my audience.
Can can I pull apart what you've just said there? I really want to pull apart what you've just said there, because we are approaching this in a slightly different way, but I think I'm coming around to your model. You actually stream to one page and then repurpose after the event.
Yes.
Yeah, which I think makes a lot of sense. The model that I've been using up until now, up until this moment in time, is that we've been trying to stream simultaneously to as many sites as we can at the time, which is what Restream does and what StreamYard does really well. So we can send it to YouTube, we can send it to Periscope, we can send it to Facebook simultaneously. And that's been my version of repurposing. But you've got a much better model. You focus on one place that does it really well, then you get the file with the transcripts, and then you chop it up into little bits. I can't wait to hear how you do this.
Yeah, it's wild. Like with our software, you don't need to download anything. You don't need to you just connect your Facebook page to our software. You can choose little clips. You can turn on the captions, make vertical videos, all that stuff. We can dive into it in a bit, but really, I mean, to me, you can do both. Like you can take your approach, go live on everywhere, and then take the Facebook video, slice and dice it into little clips, into little, people call it micro content or just smaller content, and post that snackable content, post that on social. So I'm not saying my way is right. I honestly, it probably makes sense to do both. Okay, go live, full episodes on everywhere, and then get the Facebook version, because using repurpose, that's the easiest way. And then just slice it up into smaller clips and smaller videos and post those everywhere. So you get best of both worlds.
That's the point too, right? It's being able to look, the audience of the live is probably, it's dropped like significantly when it first came out, at least on Facebook anyways. Obviously with Blab, it's been around for a while, but when it first came out, like viewership initially, when you went live, was pretty good. Right. So nowadays it's not, and people are doing their thing in a way they go and that sort of thing. But that's why I think that the tool like Repurpose is very significant, because that audience has shifted, right? Their behaviors have shifted in terms of, I may not watch it live, but I'm going to watch it later. I may register for your webinar, but I may watch it later. Right. So it gives them that option of being able to do that. So if you can then take that behavior, and I think this is why there's a really cool fit for that changing audience, you can then repurpose it to, snippets or the full program or the podcast or whatever becomes more convenient for your audience.
And I'll pick up on that, Doyle. Have you found that there is a significant drop in the live streaming appetite because of just life gets busy?
I would agree 100%, right? That we're running on our own schedule. And even if, like Keith, we'll talk about polls too, but one of the ones that we might want to do is say which time is best for you. But I've seen some of these polls, and some of them say it's like in the evenings, and some of them say it's during the day or in the morning or whatever. And, and then if we're dealing with an international audience, like back with Hani out of Toronto, right, we have to be cognizant, well, this is going live at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and so not everybody's going to be thinking business. They might be thinking Netflix or whatever, having their evening tea. So having the ability to move this to that, it's actually like a time shift, if you want to call it that. It's allowing us to be able to shift the time, or the audience is telling us, I want to shift the time to a time that's right for me, and then we have to put that in front of them so that when they're ready, they can then consume that, right? So
and which parts are working best? Are podcasts bubbling up because they're easy to do, or are little snippets of video on Facebook? Has anyone got any stats of where the audience is and what they want?
To me, I don't have stats. I mean, we could probably dig up stats. We don't have an integrated stats feature into Repurpose yet, meaning we don't tell you how many views your videos got. You would have to go into each platform and check it. But it's a different, they have a different purpose. Like your live has a different purpose. You're going live. I still feel, again, I don't have data, just feeling that if I take a live video or if I record the video and I upload it, I still think my live will get, at least initially, will get more traction than an uploaded video. Even now, and I still think that's true.
You are right. Like, a live video will have more initial appeal.
Exactly.
An uploaded video. And I think Facebook plays with that, and probably some of the other channels play with that. They want kind of an audience there right now watching, right? So I think that Facebook plays on that and says, if it's live, you will send more people to see it. If it's not live, yeah, okay, it's there in the feed, and we'll kind of see how it goes. So
yeah, but a podcast is meant to be something that is like more like on demand. Like a live, I may catch it and may not catch it. If it's in a group, probably more likely to catch it. On a page, you're probably gonna miss it. But like not miss it. I mean, like you may not catch the whole thing, or you might catch a bit of the replay, but a podcast is like the on-demand version of your episode in a more portable format. So I go for my walks every second morning or so, pop out. I'm already subscribed on my phone, put my headphones on, I walk, and I catch up with, what Doyle's up to, what Keith's up to through audio while I'm on my walk.
How many sites can you send the audio to, and which ones are the best ones?
To be honest, I get that question a lot. Hey, what's the best podcasting platform? The good news is, in reality, it doesn't really matter. You gotta go with a name that's reliable, like Libsyn or Spreaker, or there's new ones like Captivate.fm, and there's podcast.co. There's a whole bunch. The key is the platform itself has to be reliably been around for a while, and that their main focus is podcasting. But then once, really all you're doing is you're uploading an audio file to them. They generate what's called a feed, and you submit that feed to the directory. So the directories are going to give you the exposure, like the Apple Podcast directory, the Spotify directory. Once you're on there, nobody knows what host you're on or what platform. They don't really know. All they know is they go on Spotify and they search your podcast. Subscribe, and they're going to get every episode.
I think this actually is the reason why I'm very, very excited about multi-streaming, but I'm even more excited about repurposing, because, it's 11 o'clock in the morning in Melbourne on a Thursday. And that means that right now we're chatting in real time. But it might not be convenient for people to listen right now. And so we have to put our material where they are. We have to put the material that we have in the position where people who want to hear it and watch it can watch it. They're not going to come to me at 11 o'clock on a Thursday if it's 9 o'clock in Toronto. They won't. I mean, several of my mates won't come to this show because it's too late for them. But they might be mowing the lawn tomorrow or walking the dog on the beach, and they might just get their phone out and put Spotify on, and they go, hey, yeah, there's Keith's latest. That's great. I'll just listen to that because I've got to listen to something. So I think what you've got is unbelievable, because it puts the content that's already out there in a format that suits the client.
Right.
It suits the consumer. It's consumer focused, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so the video live stream has its purpose. The podcast has its other purpose. It's not a different audience. It's almost like a different behavior. A person who's not going to be following you and jumping on to watch you live. Some people will. They're like, I can't wait to hear what's going on this week. I'm going to jump in and watch live. Some people are like, I'll catch it on the podcast, the audio version. And then where the clips come in, it's more for just your brand exposure, your exposure for you on social media, right? People are scrolling their phones constantly, right? So if you imagine taking this live stream, breaking it up into 5 little clips, right? Taking like 5 1-minute, 2-minute clips. Yeah. And then every day you just upload that video. You can schedule it with our platform. You can schedule it. So Monday goes here, Tuesday goes, upload a clip on Monday, a clip on Tuesday. And then every day you're in their feed. They're watching a little video clip.
Let me pick up on when you just said that. You just said a magic word. You said a magic word. You said not only can you repurpose the content, you can schedule it. Tell me more about that.
Yes. So I can go in after you're live, go in, and we can make, we call them snippets. You can make 5 snippets or 5 clips of as long as you want. Probably want to do 1 to 2 minutes. We have a little tool. You just kind of drag it here. Boom. I want this little clip. And then you say, hey, schedule that clip to go out on Monday, and then schedule this clip to go out on Tuesday. Schedule this one on Wednesday. So you can schedule content for basically the whole week if you wanted to, without having to create content every day.
Yeah.
You've done the live stream. You are going to have an audio podcast version. You're going to have a bunch of clips going out every day, all from the one piece of content that you created, which was your live stream. So you get the power, the initial boost when you go live, and then you get all the repurposing capabilities. And the captioning is what makes it interesting. The reason why I mentioned captions earlier on, if going to a page, turn on the captions, is because we can, when we create these videos, those little 1 minute, 2 minute clips, we burn the captions right into the video. So someone can watch those without having any sound on, because sometimes it's not convenient to watch a video with sound.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree. And I watch a lot of videos with just the captions running. What do you find the accuracy is with Facebook captions?
It's not that great. I mean, I can't throw a number out
Yeah,
there. It's
I was
not
going to
that
say
great.
that too. It's like, okay, it's
But-
maybe like batting 70%.
Yeah. And I mean, there's two ways around it. You can obviously go in and clean up the live stream. Like they give you transcripts, they give you a way to clean up. But what I'm exploring now is using Otter. I'm a big fan of Otter.ai.
Okay. Yeah.
So we can send things to a Dropbox folder. I learned this recently. Live stream is done, Repurpose can send it to a Dropbox. Otter can monitor that Dropbox, automatically transcribe it when it finds that new video, and then give the captions file right back to the same Dropbox folder. And you can either upload that manually to your into your Facebook video. So you can say, hey, Facebook, I don't like your transcriptions. Here's a proper SRT file. Use that. Or you can even repurpose from your Dropbox to other platforms using our software.
Oh,
Well,
wow,
I just heard
powerful.
I just heard this week, this is really powerful and it fits perfectly into what you're doing there, honey. Zoom and Otter now have joined forces. So
yeah, I heard about that.
Otter can now transcribe Zooms. Can you believe that? Isn't that cool?
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I seen that. When I log into my Otter account, it just takes my recordings and it's all right there, already transcribed, ready for me to go. So the cool thing is with Zoom, it's integrated. If you don't have Zoom, you can have Repurpose send that to Dropbox and then get it transcribed automatically.
Yeah, so it's a good workaround then. I've actually had Otter and it sets up all my meeting reminders, but I've yet to kind of dig into it and see that it can actually do that. So
Otter's great. Otter's great.
Hey, so let's keep going here with Zoom. Let's start to go through the criteria, and then you've got a few things about your, what would we call it, relationship with Zoom as well that we can talk about. But yeah, so let's go first part. So I've broken this down, updated from last time. We have 5 different categories. The first one is presentation. So number 1 on Zoom, guess how many and how do they connect to the show? Keith, you want to answer that?
With Zoom, the presentation is 1080p, which means it's HD, which means it looks great and it's fantastic if you want to edit it, which fits perfectly with what we're saying now. The edited version, even if you do little snippets and you have to get a guest from a small part of the thing, it's going to look great. You can have up to 100 people on Zoom for like $100, for $20 a month. $20 a month for 100 people. Not that you'd want to have that many.
Well, they do become harder to manage when they are that a bit bigger. And you do purchase it based on that size. So yeah, the first one is up to 100, I think it is, and then bigger as well. And actually, speaking of that, Keith, you did send out the link, and I actually have, we had somebody join in. Where did she go? Okay. I don't know. Do we want to bring her in, or
what is it, Erica? Is it
Erica? Yes.
Yeah, Erica's from Jamaica.
Oh, okay, cool. We'll let Erica in. So, but hopefully she's still there. She's probably been waiting for a few minutes. I want to kind of keep things moving. Oh, there she is. Erica, are you there? Oh, well, we'll let her catch up if she comes in. If you come in, Erica, say hi. Anyway, okay, all right. So it's up to 100, which is good on this one. And how do they connect? It's a simple link, right? It's
the thing I really want to talk about with Zoom is that you can have not only 100 guests, but the viewing is good. Like we are now on what we call speaker view, which means when I speak, I get the screen, which makes it so much easier to do the editing. And also you can mute the others so that they don't come on. You can do what's called the gallery view, which means you can see everyone at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can adapt that as well. We used to be able to control that. I'm trying to see where those controls are, where I can sort of readjust the view. I think it's just with guests, not with necessarily sharing.
So there's Erica. She's coming in on a mobile, which looks a bit like sort of 916, and I'm having a bit of trouble seeing her. There's a big halo around her, but there she is.
Yeah. Hey, Erica, how are you? Welcome. So what's your preference with Zoom? What do you like about Zoom? If she can hear us. Not yet? Okay.
Have we got have you got your mic on, Erica?
Oh, that
must be an audio issue.
Oh, that's okay. Maybe she doesn't feel like talking.
Okay, there it is.
Okay.
I'm in the chat there. She
Yeah.
said she can't hear. Okay, so
Oh,
maybe
really?
maybe jump in again.
Yeah, you might
Maybe
have to jump in again. Yeah.
So the thing that's interesting about Zoom, which is very, very, very different to StreamYard and BeLive, is that you can have these multiple screens with multiple guests. Like with BeLive and StreamYard, you can only have 6 guests, which really it's quite tasteful. And it means that you limit the amount of Zoom bombing for a start. You don't have the Zoom bombing. And plus everyone sort of comes in a very sensible way. So when you've got a big Zoom with 20 people, I mean, I can't imagine what that's going to be like to manage.
Yeah, they are pretty hard to manage when you've got like your screen full of people. So it is important that you kind of have some etiquette, decorum in terms of, you mute unless you're actually talking type thing. Otherwise it just becomes it's impossible to follow along. So it's
is that better, Erica? Did we get you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm in.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Hey, Erica. Yes. Thanks for joining in. Actually, we're going to do
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, fantastic. For our last episode, what is it? Number 10, I think we're only doing it's a limited series, 10 episodes. On the 10th one, we're going to open up to everybody. So Erica, you got like a preview of what we're going to do for that 10th episode as well. So thanks for joining.
It's beautiful. When I realized I couldn't get in on Zoom, I actually went over to Twitter, to YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So you're watching us there.
Great stuff so far. I'm listening in. Yes.
Yeah. Which one do you normally watch it from? Do you watch Facebook Lives, YouTube Lives?
So I do Facebook Live. So that's the one I am most I normally do, as well as Instagram Live. So
okay. All right. And you do those for business or just for fun?
I do it for business, yes, because I'm with the John Maxwell team. So I do coaching calls and stuff like that. So as part of building my brand, I do have those calls where I communicate different messages every Tuesday on Facebook and also on Instagram.
Oh, wow.
Look, picking up on what you just said there, let's pick up on this. This is really powerful and it fits perfectly with what Hanny's saying. The reason I don't use Instagram is that it's what we call ephemeral content, which means it only lasts 24 hours, which to me seems really ridiculous. Personally, I can't stand the idea of going all that trouble to create content to only have it last 24 hours and go. That just seems like the most stupid idea to me.
Completely opposite to Hanny's.
It's completely opposite.
Right?
What are your thoughts on that?
We want it to stick around.
Of course.
You
got all this trouble. You got all this trouble to have content, and then it goes away.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I mean, I see like a personal connection, even the stories, the whole idea of stories. I never really got like you do an Instagram story or a Facebook story and it's there for like 24 hours or whatever. And then it's gone. It's like, I don't, it doesn't connect with me. I know people like it because they do personal. It's very, very short, very tiny personal content, but then it attracts people to come in and keep checking up on your stories because they disappeared. There's a whole like urgency factor to it. So I see that working. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I personally never tried it, never got into it because I'm not the kind of person who wants to make content every day. I want to create content once and have content for the rest of the week derived from that one piece of content.
Because let's pick up on your really, really massive tagline. The tagline is create content once, publish it everybody.
Yeah.
I mean,
I have to run a software business, so I don't have time to be making videos every single day. Everybody here has a business. You're running a business. Like creating content is not your business. It's a key part of your business, but it's not the only thing in your business. So doing videos every day is exhausting. I can't imagine doing that.
That is true. I totally agree with that with the Instagram. But somehow I find that it's just for a certain audience who, may find it, it's for a certain audience. It still has its place, but in
Of course.
terms of retaining your content, that's the drawback from it. So if you're looking for something more longevity, then you definitely would have to go to Facebook or the YouTube.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Absolutely,
it would
yeah.
mean, yeah, it would mean that you'd have to now record your content and then try and get
Yeah.
it uploaded there.
I found
which-
some businesses can do the stories pretty well, and they're intriguing, but that's the whole point. Is it kind of pushes up your creativity game. Like you can't do the
Right.
same old, same old. You can't do an interview. You can't do, some of the traditional type videos. You have to do something interesting and entertaining, and it can be
Right.
short and it can be sweet. So there are a few companies that are really kind of getting into that, but they have to adjust how they're actually delivering that as well. Let's keep moving with the criteria. Otherwise, we'll
Yeah.
be here all day, even though it would be a good conversation. Number 2 for Zoom, chroma keys and background blur. No, Zoom can't do it. And actually, sorry, my mistake. You can do a chroma key green screen with Zoom. It works quite actually easy. I suppose I didn't set it up for today, but I've used it before, and it is fairly easy to use. And with some of the other programs, sometimes it's not able to see what is actually the green screen. So I found it easier to use on Zoom, quite honestly. Background blur, it can't do that, and that's where it kind of softens the background of around the host or the guest or whatever. Which actually has a pretty cool effect.
Have you found a place that does it? I still
Yeah.
haven't found a place that streams with background blur. Is there?
Not a platform, but as a virtual cam.
Okay.
They do that. Like XSplit does that, and Minicam as well does that. I think Ecamm does something similar.
Okay.
I'll have to check again, but
Okay.
all right. Screen number 3, screen share. Can guests and hosts share images or other apps? Yes, with Zoom, it's built right in. It's part of how we present, and that's makes it quite easy to be able to share as well. Something that you really need if you're doing more of the presentation side of things, but also if you want to show something, demo something, where you go as well. Branding, screen graphics, and overlays. No, that's a big fat no, 0 for Zoom. You can't do any kind of branding. You can't do a screen graphics or overlays or anything like that, unless I've missed that as well.
Can you explain why that would be important?
Well, if you're doing it from a business side of things, like right now, Zoom has their logo. When you go live, they have the Zoom logo in the bottom right corner, right? So having those allows you to, send people to a specific website. We could have the graphic, visit Hani at repurpose.io type thing. So we can't do that with Zoom, which is unfortunate. But I guess that's more of sort of the broadcast side, not the actual connecting live streaming side. Number 5, audience experience and interaction ability. So how is the audience able to view and interact with the show and the guests and the host? So this is sort of one of those disconnects as well, is that if you're going live from Zoom, we can't see the comments, right? So if you're on Facebook, if you're watching it on Facebook and you're typing in a comment, we can't see that unless we're monitoring Facebook as well. And likewise on YouTube, if somebody puts in a comment while we're live, we can't see that as well. But generally speaking, I don't know, something to talk about too is from the user experience, what the people seeing this see. How does Zoom rate? Hani, what do you think?
I think it's great. Like it does a job from a content perspective. Like my biggest thing is what you just said now about the comments. As a guest, as a host, as a guest too, if I leave a comment and the guest is not seeing it, they're not responding. So it doesn't feel like there's a two-way engagement. So I think that's a big minus from Zoom's perspective. Is that the host, the people presenting can't see the comments. So there's less interaction with their audience unless they're monitoring it on their phone. Like to have Facebook open or whatever and watching the comments separately or a separate tab. So I think that's a big downside.
That really detracts from the idea of it being live. Like if it's live, all you're doing is really showing it. So it's like traditional TV. And in that case, it's like whatever we spit out, you either watch that channel or you don't. Right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's keep moving. Category number 2 out of 5 is logistics. So scheduling in advance. Can you set up live events in advance of actual broadcasts on Zoom? A big fat no, you cannot, which makes it very difficult to be able to schedule something ready to broadcast. So for example, in this case, Keith and I were trying to, if you want somebody to watch your Zoom broadcast, you then have to share the link that's set up by Facebook or YouTube only once you've gone live, right?
Can I pull up? Can I pick up on this? This is so important. Right at the second, we've got it on speaker view, and I'm frantically working behind the background, behind the scenes while you're talking. I'm sending this link, which only became live when we pushed go, which means I can't. This is such a big problem. I can't say to my friends at 9 in the morning, hey, we've got a show today. Here's the link. Take your time, get a cup of tea. I'm just going to go and set myself up, have a shave, and I'll see you there.
Yeah, click this link and you'll watch it.
Right now at 10 past the hour, we've been going, and I'm frantic trying to get everyone in. It's really quite stupid, don't you think?
Yeah, we do it for our training. We do training.
Can't see us doing this again. What do you think, Doyle? Is it a really major weakness, or am I over-exaggerating that point?
No, I think it's huge, quite honestly. And maybe there'll be a third-party app, and maybe, Hani, this is something you can do, but a third-party app to be able to create that interface that allows you to create that event on Facebook before it actually goes live. You can schedule on others, for example. So StreamYard, if you want to schedule it in advance, yes, you can do that. And I can set it for next Thursday or whenever the case may be. This is where I'm going. So I can send people that link, and that's the channel that they watch at that time. It pops up and appears. But on Zoom, they don't have it. So
yeah, no, I think it's very important too. We do it for all our training, monthly training. I schedule it. We use StreamYard. I schedule it. Email goes out 3 days beforehand. I say, hey, leave a comment. I have a question. Leave the comment 3 days in advance. So all the comments are already there in the Facebook post. And then when we go live, they know where to go. They're notified. They've already been subscribed, because there's a button that says, hey, notify me when I go live. So there's definitely an advantage of having it scheduled and promoting it prior to going live. So I think I really hope someone comes up with a solution. I don't know.
It really is a big fat no on that, isn't it? It's a big fat no.
Yeah. It's a zero stars Zoom. Sorry. Built-in registration and event pages. Oh yeah, go ahead,
Erica?
please.
Yeah, I was just asking. So what about the reminders? Does that account for anything? No. Like they just send you reminders.
Yeah. So what
That's
you have
all
to
they
do. Yeah. So in the case of Zoom, you have to set up an event page, and that kind of leads into the next one. Is we set up an event page, but then we have to post that link in the event page for the actual video. So we send people to the event. They see, oh, this program's coming up, but they have to then watch when we post that link, right? So there's a huge disconnect.
Yeah. I had to do that the other day.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
And by comparison, let's just play it out, because this is part 3. Be Live and and StreamYard are far superior on almost everything so far, except that both of those are 720p. If you can live with 720p, a slightly fuzzy image, the functionality of all these other programs, which again leads perfectly into why Hani's program is so amazing. The functionality of having all these add-ons, which are convenient. Just the thought of having to actually push your live stream out while you're on the live stream. It's almost like a double whammy. I mean, I'm a bloke. I can't do 2 things at one time. I'm struggling. And I think it's important that people see that Zoom, even though it looks great and it sounds impressive, I've got to actually be tweeting my guts out while I'm on the stream.
Yeah.
How silly is that?
Well, it depends on the purpose itself, right? What are you using it for? And if you're just kind of pushing it live, then you don't really worry about those details. But I think maybe we're trying to push it into a box or into a corner of what we think it should be.
Yeah.
When maybe it wasn't designed. Because when you look at some of this, it does seem like an add-on. And yes, they only added on Facebook Live maybe like a year or so ago, maybe a bit longer. So it's obviously wasn't that primary type of thing to go with.
I think it was just primarily for just meetings. I don't think they had
video conferencing.
Video conferencing.
But because live was, let's do the live thing, they thought, hey, wait, we've got a tool that might be able to go live as well. Built-in registration and event pages, number 7. No, you can't with Zoom itself, but with Zoom webinars you can, and that's actually a cool feature that we won't talk about that now, but that's down the road. So for Zoom webinars, which is an add-on, you actually get your own registration and event pages, which is pretty cool. Number 8, ease of use and setup. What do you think? How easy is Zoom to set up? I think initially it's pretty easy. You click the link and you connect.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Zoom normally is an amazing site which you can schedule your meetings ahead of time. But in this context, Zoom for streaming, I think the use case is so cumbersome that I can't imagine recommending it ever again. Just to be clear.
It's so harsh, Keith.
You know, I mean, I love it. I mean, and the thing that's interesting is that we're techies. I mean, we love this stuff. And if we're having trouble, what's the average person going to be thinking?
But there's a huge one here that we'll get into that absolutely turns the tide on that.
Okay.
And I say, you know what? If any others had that, I would jump on that ship right away.
Yeah, and that is.
And we'll get to it. We're almost there. Come on, I got to create some suspense here.
Yeah.
All right. So number 9, practice runs and record only without going live. So does this do that? Yes. And one of the annoying things is that if you set up auto record, it records everything from the time you connect. So then you have to go back in and edit that front section out. But yeah, that's basically a practice session. So it's good to have. You don't always need to use it, but if you're trying something new, it's always a really good idea to see, okay, well, what does this button actually do? And so you can actually practice that. But if you push the go to Facebook Live, go to YouTube Live on Zoom, you're going live. So you kind of have to practice before. All right. Cool. Let's keep moving. Let's move into the business and ROI side of things. So cost and freemium model.
Yeah, you want me to chat about that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, go for it.
So this is absolutely one of Zoom's power suits, isn't it? You know, you can now, because of COVID, you can stream live unlimited time to 100 people for free. It used to be 40 minutes, but now the free version is free for unlimited time.
Okay, so they did that just recently because of COVID. Because that was so annoying. Like, if you're not done in 40 minutes, then they shut you down.
One of Zoom's competitors, which we can mention in this context, WebEx.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Kay, but I actually had a meeting on Zoom today on the free version, and they shut me down.
So maybe they haven't.
Yeah, they did, because I was like, because I actually set up, because I have a paid version and I have a free version. So today, I had a meeting at 6 o'clock, and they cut me off
after 40 minutes.
Yeah, they sent me a reminder to say, "Oh, you only have 10 minutes left."
Okay, well thank you for that, because what I've been instructed is that because WebEx did it, WebEx did the same thing: unlimited calls, unlimited time for up to 100 people while COVID is on. And Zoom responded, but obviously they haven't rolled that out everywhere. So let's roll it back to what Zoom was. Zoom was free one-to-one calls but groups are limited to 40 minutes on the free version. So you get a sense of, actually, this is really good. It's easy to use. It's easy to connect. You can set up a link. And then a little bit like the Spotify model, which I love, free except for the ads, for $20 a month. Actually, I think it's $23.95 Australian. You can get up to 100 people on the call, unlimited time, unlimited messages. They send the file to you in HD, in MP3 and MP4, separated out so you can repurpose it. And that is one of its power suits. It's affordable, it looks great, it's easy to use in its video conferencing format. Would you agree? That's really where Zoom sings.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. That's I think the overall purpose is it's more of a video conferencing type piece of work as opposed to live streaming. So it does give you that. One thing I want to jump back in on is actually I missed it. I can't believe I missed it. We're setting up this new criterion, but when you share with Zoom, you can actually share an iPad screen, right? So you can share it through AirPlay if you have a Mac, or you can plug in the USB cable as well. So that's what I've been doing.
How does that look like? I've never heard of that.
Oh, it looks fantastic. how can I show you? Well, I suppose I could show you. I'll have to stop sharing. I'll get it set up, but we'll keep talking.
We'll keep
But
talking.
yeah, what it allows you to do is have like a session, a learning session live with using.
Okay.
So instead of trying to trace things with a mouse or highlight stuff, it's like I open up my Sketch app and away I go. So
only with iPad? Does it work with the Samsung tablets?
It probably does. Well, it's AirPlay, screen mirroring. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm sure there's a possibility that it could connect as well. All right, number 11, business aspects, selling and marketing. Are there any built-in marketing or selling options to showcase products and services? I would say no. Right.
Let me pick up on that
With
because
Zoom.
I noticed that a couple of times you mentioned this and it was a real sort of revelation to me. On several sites we've already talked about, you can have this little demo model. Hey, I've got a new product and here's the page. And if you click here, you can get a free sample or go to my ebook.
On Be Live. No, Zoom doesn't do that at all. On something like Be Live or Webinar Jam, which is a webinar platform, which we're going to talk about later in one of the other shows. But Be Live, you can actually have like a product feature type thing. So you can show these are my products or this is my book, for example. That's how I use it, is I can show that this is my book and this is where you can get it and you can click the link. It's not a live video link, just to be clear, though. It's more a presentation of this is what what I can sell as well. Networking ability, open format. So basically, are there breakout rooms or any built-in networking capabilities for this? With Zoom, yes, there are breakout rooms. They can work well, but they have to be set up in advance and they have to be, they're quite structured, actually. So you can set them up like that. There's another platform that Keith's not a big fan of, Remo.io, that's what it's built on, is simply networking, where you can change the room that you go into as opposed to being assigned a room in Zoom. So
can you pick up on why you like that? Because I know that Zoom has what's called the Zoom rooms or the breakout rooms.
Yeah, the breakout rooms.
I've never tried it, but you don't love it, but you don't hate it as much as I hate it.
Because it's that flexibility. Like I'm basically put into a group as assigned by the moderator or by the host, right?
Yeah.
On Zoom. So I don't have a choice. They just put me in a one of the breakout rooms and away we go kind of thing, which isn't that big of a deal. But with something like Remo, you can actually select, Keith's in that group on that table. I'm going to click into his group and chat with Keith, right? So I can do that on my own control. So
have you seen that, Henny? Have you seen Remo?
No, I haven't heard of Remo before, and I've never tried the Zoom rooms either. So it sounds like a great idea. I mean, when you have bigger groups, it makes sense.
There's a very good friend of mine in Toronto called Sue Sutcliffe. I don't know if you know her. And she has
that name sounds familiar for some reason.
She does a yearly annual in-person event called Dominate the Digital, which she's now going to do online. And she introduced me. She really resonated with Remo, and so we've been chatting about it. But the trouble we've had here in Australia is that it's very, very unreliable. In the sense that we got, Doyle's been on this exact call. We went to all this trouble to set up a really cool event and tell all our friends, all our really powerful friends, that we found this new thing and we're the cool dudes that are trying new things. And that's
what you said.
But it didn't work. And all my mates were saying, mate, I cleared my schedule. I came back from a conference for this. I came back.
How embarrassing.
You know? How embarrassing. And the embarrassment factor was so high.
I know.
that I couldn't bring myself to ask them again. And several of my friends have said, mate, never, ever, ever send me to that site again.
Wow.
Sorry.
And that really cut
Lost
me in
your
half.
audio there, Keith. Must be me.
You hear me now? Better? No?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Can you hear him? Honey,
so Remo has.
Must just be mine. Can you hear me? Obviously, you can hear me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
but I can't hear you, Keith.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me, Henny?
I can hear you, Keith. Yeah.
Because my audio is still on. The advantage of Remo, separate to the trouble that we've had in Australia, is that instead of going to a Zoom room and having people up the screen, up on top of the screen, and you chat to them randomly, and you've got to see this in operation to really fully understand it, you can actually go to a room of people that are interested in that. And it's actually not rooms, it's tables. So you can actually have up to 6 people on a table that might be from Toronto, or might be into, live streaming, or might really, really want to know more about Zoom. So rather than just go into an innocuous conversation and going, what do you do? Well, I sell insurance and, I'm pretty good at it. Okay, no worries. And we've all been in that networking situation where you're stuck with a guy you really can't wait to get rid of. And that's a shocking thing to say, but haven't we all been at that networking event where you go, how do I politely say good luck and move on?
Yeah.
But with Remo, you can. You're going, look, I'm just going to go and I'm zipping over to the Zoom table because I really want to find out. Like, those people have identified themselves as interested in a topic, or coming from a city, or working at a company. So you already have that instant level of connection. Is that why you like it, Doyle? Is that what you see the use case for?
Yeah, 100%, Keith. So it allows you to be able to connect with people, move in and out. You're not kind of forced there as well. So if you don't want to be in that room, right, you can leave, for whatever reason as well. So it gives you that fluidity. And honestly, I see that as being, and maybe Remo's not the best example to use, but I see that as being sort of that next stage of live streaming and that sort of thing, is how do we actually connect more intimately too?
Intimately.
This is good, but how do I have a conversation with Erica? Or if I want to talk with Hani, I can do a chat, yes, right? But you're still missing something. And there was a story, I think, on the news the other day, is how we do have this technology, but we're still kind of missing that. That's why there's a lot of frustration, is those people who haven't been using this are very frustrated because there's not that human connection. It's like you watching me talk or whatever, watching a video or that sort of thing. So there's that disconnection as well. And so people are feeling a little bit like there's a wall or something in front of us.
Do you think that's the next level of where this will go?
I believe so, is that it'll be more interactive. Like, what else can we do here? We can get the audience. Like, we invited Erica to come in and join us, and on our 10th episode, we're going to open up the whole panel kind of thing.
Can I just point out why I know Erica and how this fits into what you've just said?
Yeah, sure.
So the reason I invited Erica is because we did an event. She did it. I came in Jamaica. This was in May last year, almost a year ago. And Erica said to me, like most people do, oh, can you please come here? We can't wait to hear you speak on stage in Jamaica. We'll put you up in a nice hotel and it'll be lovely. And I said to Erica, it's 27 hours away on a flight.
You turned down a flight to Jamaica, Keith?
Did I know you then? I think I sent you the link.
Yeah. No, you told me.
27 hours on a plane.
Yeah, it's a long flight. Yeah.
And the flight itself costs $2,700. And it was 3 changes: Melbourne, LA, Miami, Kingston, Jamaica. And I said to Erica, can we do it via Zoom? And she said, I've got a better idea. Let's use Adobe Connect, which is another site perfect for this. And the reason why this is exactly the perfect conversation for right now is that I spoke at 12:30 my time at night. It was 8:30 in the morning in Jamaica, and we had 50 people in the room at this hotel, which I could have been at, but also 50 people online around the world asking questions in the chat room. Hey, Keith, it's Billy here from Nigeria. Can you tell me about hashtags? Yep, I can tell you about hashtags, and thanks for your question. So that was a year ago, well before COVID, and I thought this is where the world is going.
And that's where we are now.
And that's where we are now.
And we're forced into it. But some of us have been doing it for years.
Keith, and it's funny you mentioned that, Keith, because I did a post on my Facebook page yesterday, and I rehashed. It was just a picture of some of the trends that are going to be happening in digital, and I rehashed the fact that I started to have this conference in 2018. And got several pushback in Jamaica where people was like, oh no, we don't want to do virtual conference. We prefer to see people in person. And then I fast forward to today, 2 years later, and I remember we still had that same resistance even last year when we did it, when Keith was a presenter, and you still had that resistance. And to see that today, present day, 1 year after Keith spoke at that conference, it is now the trend. It is a must do, you know. And I'm saying to myself, oh my God, now this is just the perfect time for us to be having this conference. Where is Keith? Yes, we really need to be doing more of this. So
have you found
you
this
know,
to
we
be
were
the
setting
case?
the trend, and that's good.
Have you found this to be the case, Honey? Have you noticed that a lot of conferences you might have been invited to speak at in person have tried to attempt the online version? Or do you not speak?
I don't usually speak. I go to conferences more in the podcasting space. I did go to PodFest, which was the one well, it was on the border of when you're not supposed to travel. It was just like before they shut down all the conferences. So I went there. There was a lot of in-person stuff, but I started hearing from other people who were supposed to go to other conferences after they're all being shut down. I don't know. Like I don't do a lot of conferences, but I just hear more and more everything's going online. Like everything's, you know, kids are learning online now. Like my kids they're doing school online. It's difficult.
I
It's an
think
adjustment
this is
for them,
definitely.
but it's
Well, Erica, are you going to do that conference again? Are you going to have
Yes,
another
I
go at
think
it?
this is now the perfect time now to regroup, Kay, and do it, because I mean it's such a powerful. You know what I love about the conference, Kay, is that we were innovators back then, and I think we really need to continue to push that. And then coming out of the conference, Kay, the kind of impact, even learning from you about, you know, Twitter, that those bombs that you drop there, people are looking for more of that. And why we need to continue that trajectory is because post COVID, online is now going to skyrocket. So now is the time for us to really be educating people more. Even this presentation that we're having here, Doyle, I mean, these are things that people need, so that you can be able to compare and contrast and see what is happening. Because I'm going to take that link so that I can now share it even among my audience who was there at the conference, so they can now become a part of this community and learn from you while you're doing this. I don't know if you're going to be doing
very proud of this idea.
Fantastic. Thanks, Erica.
Because people need this. People need this. They need it.
Yeah, we
because
need
you
these
want to
skills.
know what's the right tool I must use? What's the difference between this? What is the difference between that? People need this content.
Yeah, I'm likening it to what I call a digital expedition, right? It's not a safari when we go in and go try this and do this. It's like you need to prepare yourself now for an expedition, right? We need to put all these pieces in place. And live streaming is one of those as well. Just to keep moving here, because I know that it's late over east there for you, Hanny and Erica. This is what I wanted to show you first off, is that I'm actually on my iPad.
Wow.
So I can, and one of the coolest things here is notability, which allows you to, this was a presentation I gave yesterday, right? So I've got my notebook here and I can actually write on this and make sure I've got the right settings here. And then just kind of write notes.
Wow, you're writing on your iPad.
Yeah, so I'm writing on my iPad and it comes up here, so I can, you know, I love Venn diagrams, right? So I can do Venn diagrams and I can fill them in and I can highlight them and I can do all kinds of cool stuff here, right?
Because it's touch sensitive based on your fingers.
Well, I use the Apple Pen, right? But to me, this is like a game changer. Because before you had to sit through a presentation like a PowerPoint and
death by PowerPoint.
Yeah, exactly. And death by PowerPoint online too, right? Like we're kind of stuck in that. But this allows me to you organize the main pieces here, right? So I create diagrams up front and then I'm able to kind of elaborate on them. So it becomes a lot more interactive in terms of what I do and how I do it.
And is Zoom the only place that you can do that you know of?
Zoom can do this and Ecamm can do this as far as I know. So that's why to me, this is like
Zoom has tool. The whiteboard.
It does have the whiteboard, but you have to scroll on it with your mouse, right? Whereas you can use like a more natural writing instrument. And then I can pull up this as well. Anything. This is from Dropbox. So, all right. So let's keep moving here. Hannah, you falling asleep yet?
No, man, I'm enjoying.
Okay,
I'm learning
good.
something. I don't know Zoom very well. I mean, I know it
Okay.
to a certain level, but I'm
All right,
learning
cool.
about the pros and cons. So
Yeah, so we'll wrap up in the next couple of minutes, and then we've got that big announcement from Hanny about Zoom. Ooh, it's exciting stuff. All right, so we're in category number 4 out of 5, technical. So multiple channel broadcasting quantities. Zoom, you can only broadcast one live channel at a time.
Not very many of them.
Well, there's Facebook and there's YouTube, and as we said at the beginning, Facebook didn't work for me yesterday and the day before. I was trying to do that because again, I love this feature. I don't know if it's something with Facebook or Zoom.
Can I share a
Connect.
really quick story here about functionality in multi-channels? I actually asked Zoom, this is a true story. I have to frame it that way because it's unbelievable. I actually asked Zoom, have you got any intention of adding Periscope to the mix of streaming? You won't believe what they said. Their exact quote was, I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's Periscope?
Is it any good?
wow.
And I said, you can't be serious. It's 2020. You've never heard of Periscope. No, we have no intention of adding that one. We've never heard of it.
Yeah, look, that's probably a customer service response that, I don't know. But that's actually something that I wanted to find out, is if there's a stat, maybe Hanny, you know this. I know you said you're not too much into stats, but that's cool. But what are the actual number of users on these different channels, right? StreamYard, Zoom, Be Live, just Facebook. I'd love to kind of see that. So maybe it's something that we do ourselves. We create a study that gives specifically what people are
look,
actually
I can tell you
using.
another stat which links into this. We'll get back to this. We'll do a special show on this. Yesterday, I found out that gaming is predicted to be a $196 billion industry by 2022.
Yeah.
And that Twitch, which is a live streaming platform for gamers, is really purpose built to take advantage of this huge dollar figure. People love game. I don't do it, but people love gaming, and Twitch is a site that's gone ahead of the curve and made it possible to live stream your game, right? Mm-hmm. So why don't we do that with all of the different platforms and see who's using what? I'm pretty sure no one's using LinkedIn Live because no one can get it.
Yeah. In Australia.
Do you have it, Hanny?
Yeah.
Have you tried to get it?
I've applied. I haven't heard in 6 months.
So I'm not alone. I've applied 4 times.
Funny.
Yeah.
Really?
Okay. Yeah.
What's the requirement? What is the requirement? What is it that determines whether you get it or not?
I don't know, and that's the problem, right? I have no idea.
Been able to work out the criteria.
Yeah, I've been doing lives since 2017, for 3+ years. So I've got a lot of episodes. I've done this a lot of times, so it doesn't make sense. But anyway.
You know who knows KK? Brian Franzo. He did a live the other day.
LinkedIn Live?
Yeah, he did
I've
a live.
seen his
live.
shows on there.
And he did it through Ecamm. Yeah, he used Ecamm.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I tried. I tried it. You have to have you have to use a third-party program like StreamYard, and there's a few others as well. I'm not sure which the other one is, but anyways, I tried to see if I could go in the back end to connect StreamYard to LinkedIn, but there's a big error message saying, "Oh, we can't connect you to LinkedIn Live."
There's a big internet bouncer there saying, "No."
Yeah, it's the wrong. You need the wrong adapter. It's you need a different connector for that.
Can I get that at the Apple Store? All right, number 18. Create and download recordings.
$100.
Yeah, $200. Create and download recordings in different formats. Zoom can do this. Actually, what I liked about Zoom is that it actually takes the video from all the speakers and the screen share, and it splits them up.
Yes.
Right?
Can
So
you tell me about how that works?
Yeah. So each individual video of you and me and Hani and Erica comes as a separate video. So for an editing perspective, you can then zoom in on that person. So for example, when I'm sharing the screen, that's obviously one of the feeds. So it records just the screen share. It records just the guests, and it also records a combined view. So with us across the top or however it's set up, as well as the shared screen. So
I have heard of that feature, and you like it, yeah?
Yeah. It doesn't allow for an MP3 separation, but Be Live does, and I think StreamYard does as well. So you can download the audio version separately also.
Yeah.
Ease of video editing and highlighted speaker view. That's actually something that we talked about earlier, Keith. And what's that?
Okay, so what I like about Zoom, and I've never seen it done before, is what I call voice activation. So when I speak or cough, which is a downside of that, when I'm speaking, I
laugh.
laugh. When I speak, I get the full screen automatically when you're on speaker view. Yeah. So when I'm on speaker view, the person that is speaking automatically gets the floor, which makes it look much more dynamic. And it means that when the person's speaking, they get priority. And from the editing point of view, that's extremely useful. And from the person's point of view as the consumer, it's much more interesting because the person who's speaking gets the floor. And that's possible with the other sites, but you said, Doyle, you've got to activate it as the monitor.
Yeah, as the host, like for example, on Be Live or StreamYard, you actually change the view that the audience sees. So I can make you full view. I can take all of us off. I can have us arranged in a pattern as well. So you can manually control that. You can do that a little bit here, but it goes around the shared screen. Yeah, so it allows that flexibility, but at the same time, the automation of it in Zoom can be annoying, but it certainly is better than kind of being stuck there as well. The last one, episode management number 20, how our older episodes access, how easy it is to access them. So what that is basically like, can you go back into Zoom and look at old episodes or download old episodes? And in Zoom's case, yes, you can. In most of them, you can, like Be Live, you can, StreamYard, you can. So it's just sort of having that repository of videos available.
Yeah.
Facebook, it's a little bit difficult if you went direct live with Facebook because it just makes the link. So you have to find that link. I mean, I think you can sort it into a playlist or whatever, but it makes it.
What you're talking about there, just in case people don't know what you're saying, when you can record,
that happens a lot.
no, but we're talking really high level now, and I'm breaking it down. We're like the two guys from the Muppets, right? We're just sort of talking, bantering together. So when you record on Zoom, you have the option to record to your PC or Mac or to the cloud. And I'm guessing that what you're talking about is when you send your file to the cloud, it stays there. Yeah, in a line. Yeah. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah, it stays there in the cloud. So
do you know how much capacity you have?
Well, they say 1 gigabyte, but they send me a message every day saying you've gone over your.
Yes, I get that too. Yes.
So I'm thinking,
get that too.
Oh, do you? Okay. So I'm thinking, okay, does that mean you want me to pay, but I never get a bill? So it's like, okay, it's just a notice. So I don't know. They said you owe us like $100. I'd say, okay, I'll go back and I'll delete some. But
the reason why that's very, very important, and I can only speak from StreamYard's point of view, StreamYard in the Pro version, $50 a month, $49 a month if you pay per month, is that you can record up to 8 hours in a row, and there doesn't appear to be any download limit in the sense that they just keep it there for what I think it's 7 days. So they keep the recording for 7 days. And as long as you use it or download it to your PC in that time. Is that similar to what you're talking about with Zoom?
Yeah, basically. So the files are there so you can access them. I can go back in anytime and look at these files. So it's important. I mean, if you're using something, this is maybe be a good lead into Repurpose again, honey. But if you're using them, downloading them now, and using them with repurpose.io, you don't necessarily need to have them as an archive. That's really what they are. But for example, if you forget about them, if you don't start with them, then you kind of, where are these types of things? But if you're actually connecting all of this to Repurpose, that's really what you need, kind of thing. And let's get Hani to talk about how he's working with Zoom now, and then we'll wrap up. And actually, I have Sarbjeet Johal has entered the waiting room. I'll let him in.
All right, I got a question before I jump into Repurpose, which I'm still not clear about. Maybe I misunderstood, but with the free version of Zoom, do you get cloud recording?
I don't think you do.
Oh no,
I don't think you do. Okay, so you have to be on a certain level. Okay, gotcha. That's why I thought I was on free and I could only record to my computer.
Correct.
And then to enable the cloud recording, then you need to be on at least
You have
the
to
first
pay. You have
level
to on the paid
first
version.
level
Right?
pay. Okay, gotcha. Yes, that's what I thought. Okay, gotcha.
Hey guys.
Okay, cool.
Hey, Sarvjeet, how are you? Welcome.
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good. We're just about to wrap up, but we got a great announcement coming up from Hani. He's our special guest.
Awesome.
Special guest. All right. So we've been, we've been on the verge of releasing an integration with Zoom inside of Repurpose. So all your cloud recordings can be automatically repurposed to all other platforms automatically through our platform. So you don't have to download them from Zoom and then say, I want to repurpose them. You can just create inside our software. If you're familiar with repurpose.io, you can create just like rules or workflows. And one, you can start with a Facebook video, or you can start with a podcast. Now you can start with a Zoom. So, hey, take all my Zoom recordings, or take this Zoom recording, make a bunch of clips, convert them to vertical, send them to YouTube, send them to Twitter. You can do all that magic all inside of Repurpose without having to download any of the videos. So we're
That's
just waiting
awesome.
for approval on that, and we should be up and
Can you
going.
decode
hopefully.
just how massive that is, Doyle? Can you tell me why that's? I mean, it's massive, but can you tell people why that's so massive?
Well, I think that gives you the ability to really ease that work, right? The work that you're actually required to do, because creating live stream is not easy, right? It's not. Let's be completely honest here. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of organization to be able to do that. So that's sorry, my screen's just flipped there, so I'll switch back here. Yeah, so that's something that's really important, is that you have to look at how much time are you spending doing this, and if it's too much work, what usually happens, you might start it a few times, but then it kind of drops. So if you can make that easier to be able to connect directly to Zoom and repurpose this automatically, like sign me up, please. Shut up and take my money. Like, because we're all trying to find something that works easier and works with what we're doing, not the other way around. I mean, yeah, we're kind of tech heads, you and I, Keith, but at the same time, there has to be a business purpose. There has to be something that we get out of this.
Yeah.
And how can we actually make that easier? So instead of, manually doing this or getting a VA to do it or a video person to do it, like whatever, it takes some time. So if we can automate that task like that, to me, that's brilliant. So,
And can I ask, Henny, do you need to have your files in the cloud for Repurpose to access them, or can you have them on your computer in your file and use a piece of software on your PC?
For the direct Zoom integration, we integrate with the cloud.
Okay.
But in general, if you have any video file or any recording, all you need to do is upload it to a Dropbox or a Google Drive, and then you can repurpose from there. So repurpose is it's like Zapier in a sense. So you have an input and an output, and you connect to Dropbox. Your Dropbox folder could be an input. Your Google Drive folder, your Facebook page could be an input. Your Facebook group could be an input. Any platform, a lot of platforms can be inputs. So you can take videos from there. Your podcast feed is an input. We take audios from there, and then you just tell it what you want to do. I want to send a video.
What can you do? I mean, this is the thing that I'm fascinated by. We've got this 1 hour. This is a very good use case.
Perfect.
We've got a 1 hour live stream, which I'm going to struggle to watch again, and I'm in it.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But what can you do? Can you make little small clips? Can you take off the audio? Can you get a transcript? Where can you take it?
So the most common use cases, you would take this live stream. For automatic repurposing, that's why I was recommending earlier to go live to a Facebook page, because we cannot download videos from YouTube. It's just not. You can as a user, but softwares are not allowed. It's not legal. There are softwares that do it, but we've been audited by Google and Facebook. We comply with all the rules. We're not breaking any rules. We're not messing with those guys. So we do everything by the book. So we cannot take a video off of YouTube and repurpose it. But we can take a video off of Facebook, this live stream, and send it to YouTube. We send the whole thing to YouTube. That's the first thing you want to do. If you haven't streamed to YouTube, you want to send a copy to YouTube. 2, you can rip the audio and send it to your podcast host.
Yep.
So we integrate with Libsyn, we integrate with SoundCloud. We're adding a few more integrations. If you're not on any of those, you can have the audio sent to your Dropbox right away. We also have options to add an intro and outro so that we can automatically put in an intro, outro, so you don't have to do any editing later.
You create that first, and then they Repurpose knows to add it at the front and the back. You do the
you like I record an intro, or you record an intro for your show, and then you just upload it to Repurpose. You say, hey, every time you rip the audio out of this video, attach this intro to it and this outro to it, and then send that final product to.
Unbelievable! As Doyle said, sign me up. Take my money.
Yeah, and then you can go. Then you can go as far as like, all right, you can make another rule. Say, hey, take this live stream. Let me make a bunch of clips, so I can like jump and make a 1 minute, 2 minute clip from it. And if you've turned on the captioning on Facebook, like I mentioned earlier, there's free captioning on Facebook, or you have your own captioning, like Otter, for example, gives you an SRT file. You upload that to your Facebook page. Once you have the captioning on Facebook, you can say, hey, you know what? Take that video, this video, and make it into a horizontal, a square video.
Yeah.
Burn in the captions right in there with a title and a progress bar, and send that to LinkedIn, and send that clip to Twitter, and make a vertical version and send it to my Dropbox folder so I can put it on Instagram.
You've got some creative control over the font style and the color, and maybe
not yet, but colors, yes. But font style is something we're actually working on now.
No worries.
But it's fully automated. Like there's no going in and design. It's not Canva. It's like literally say, all right, here are my colors. I predefined all my colors. I want white background with black text and red progress bar, and my caption.
We'll do some this week to show exactly what you're talking about, because I haven't done it. I can't really picture it, but I can see how cool it'd be. I mean, I can see how much time that's going to save us.
Yeah, and it's all managed from one interface, and everything could be set to auto or manual or schedule. So auto means, hey, next time I publish a podcast episode, we can do audio to video as well. That's another area. So if you're starting with audio content, we can convert it to video, so you can put your podcasts onto video, onto YouTube, etc.
Just with one predefined image.
Predefined image with a waveform. You can design your own template and upload to our system, so it's all fully branded the way you want it. It's really cool. If you go to repurpose.io, right on the homepage, there's a bunch of samples there with like, A, we have a workflow diagram that shows you what you can do, and then B, shows you what the videos look like.
I'm sorry, I joined late. What's the pricing there? What's the pricing?
Oh, it's super cheap. It's like cheaper than Zoom. It's we have a $15 a month and $25 a month plan.
You have a freemium model? Do you have a
free trial? Free trial
for 28 days?
For 4 videos or 14 days, whatever comes.
Okay.
So you can go 4 full videos, experience it all, no watermark, nothing. Really get a feel for what it does. And any kind of thing, audio to video, video to video, video to vertical, video to square, cap, whatever you want to do, you can do it all in the free trial, but there's 4 video limit. And then the plans start at $15, and we have 2 plans, $15 and $25.
What do you get on each? Great question, Subject. Thank you.
Yeah, if you're just doing podcasting, like if you're just starting with audio, you just need the $15 plan. Go audio to video and direct upload to YouTube, direct upload to Facebook. If you're doing video stuff, like we're starting with a live stream and we're going to repurpose that video into other videos, into clips, etc., and into audio, it's the $25 plan. And you can do all your Facebook pages, all your groups. As long as you're an admin, you can do everything. And the third thing was we have WordPress plugins as well. So you can repurpose these live streams into blog posts automatically as well. They go.
Are you doing this now? Are you doing this now, Doyle?
I've started. I've had an account for a while, but haven't actually utilized the full power of it, unfortunately. But
what about you, Subject? Jump in and give us your perspective, because you're a bit of a dude and you're late to the game today. Tell us a little bit about what you do and how you think what we've talked about today plays out.
I think it's huge, because anything you can do to reduce the manual work we do every day, it chops off, like even if it chops off half an hour a day, you just add up the numbers. It's huge. Like ROI is huge, right? So it pays back in a day. What are you spending there time wise? And one common use case is, I think I have seen some tools like that. Like you can transcribe the video into text, right? And then take the snippet of that section from the video and then create a tweet out of that. It will have the tweet as a text and it will have the video.
Is that missing letter? Huh? You're talking about missing letter?
No, actually, it's the tool from the Cube guys. They produced. They have their own proprietary software. They have a software arm, SiliconANGLE here in US.
Have you heard of that one, Doyle? Missing letter.
Actually, yeah, I think I have.
Yeah,
but never
what,
actually used it.
let me just pick up on what you've just said there, because this is huge. You take a piece of text, which is maybe 1,000 words, and then you take a small snippet from that and send it to Twitter, and have a link to, okay, here's the big story, and we haven't got time to put that in the tweet, but here's a little snippet from the first paragraph, a quote from Subject about how cool this is, and then but if you want to read the full article or watch the full video, click here. So it's like a teaser. We talk about this a lot. It's like the headline of the Herald Sun or a newspaper in your town. Here's what it's about, and I've got your attention now, so click here. And I think that's the biggest use case for Repurpose. This idea that you've got a minute snippet of this big long live stream, which no one's inclined to watch entirety. But if you say, hey, look, we chatted about some stuff, it's worth watching. Click here, you'll get more of this. People might be inclined to jump in and even fast forward or watch the whole thing. Because we're busy. We don't have time to work out if it's good. You have to tell us up front. You have to front load the value, don't you? Yeah.
No, actually, the problem with video is great, right? Audio is, I think, even better, but video is great. Like if you can listen to video passively, you're paying YouTube $15 a month. You can put it, like you can just disable the video part, and then you can do other things while you're listening, stuff like that. But one problem with the video and audio is that I cannot search in it.
I can't skip. Yeah.
I can't search for the content. Like you have so much content out there in video and audio format. To be able to do search, you have to transcribe it into text. And once you can search for it, for example, if you have 5,000 videos on AI topic, like you happen to be a media house, which does tech all the time, and you have like 5,000 videos, in those people talk about AI anywhere in the video, right? And you want to find all the videos where somebody mentioned AI in the last 1 week.
Yeah.
Or coronavirus in the last 1 week, or whatever that happens to be, a keyword, and you want those snippets, and one of those or two of those you want to repurpose or tweet about it, and they're worthy of tweet or something like that. So what happens is like there's a video on the right and text on the left. So when you select the text, the corresponding video gets selected, same segment, and then you put it out there. That's what I was talking about. It's very useful, actually, by the way.
No, that's all good. Actually. Yeah. Good stuff, guys. I'm going to wrap up, I think. But just in closing, maybe if each one of you can tell us how you rate Zoom overall out of 5 stars, and then give us your Twitter handle and how we can get in touch with you. So Erica, do you want to start? We can't hear you. You're still muted. Still muted. I'll see if.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay. So for me, I will give Zoom a 4 out of the 5 stars. Of course, the 1 star is just just for the things, because clearly we can see that it was designed for. So now it's a matter of trying to catch up with what's trending. So because of that, they may not have certain features. So I guess maybe because of that, yeah.
Yeah.
But 4 for me.
Excellent. Thank you, Sarjeet.
And
it's Twitter handle. Sorry, it's at Erica Mackenzie JA. That's my handle.
For Jamaica.
Yeah. Yes. Awesome. KK actually gave me that handle. Actually.
That's right. Bit of Twitter experience there.
Good stuff.
Twitter at Erica Mackenzie JA. Yes.
I think I'll give it 4 also because of some security debacles out there, and they messed up. They let it be loose in the beginning, and now they're tightening up some stuff, and the encryption was bad and stuff like that. I think if I can give the rating on the usability or the ease of use, I will give them 10 out of 5.
Yeah.
10 out of 5. Okay. Good stuff. And how do we get in touch with you, Sarjeet?
Oh, Sarjeet Hall, as my name is spelled. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Hani, thanks so much for joining us. What do you give it overall?
For a live streaming tool, I'd give it a 3.
Yeah.
I wouldn't use it for live streaming. Me personally, I like to have a few extra bells and whistles, and then like a BeLive StreamYard type thing, and that's all browser based. And Yeah, that's just my personal opinion. I love Zoom for meetings, love Zoom for like recordings, but for live streaming, I personally wouldn't use it. Not to be harsh, I love Zoom, but as a live streaming tool, there are a few other better options out there.
Yeah, excellent. And how do we get in touch with you?
Just at Hanny Mora. It's my first name, last name.
Perfect. Easy. Thank you. Keith,
Okay,
what do you give it?
Well, first things first, as a live streaming tool, I would give it 3 out of 5 because it was hard. It looks great. And once we got it going, it was fine to use. But the idea of having to tweet while I'm talking, like, and try and get people on the call, that was impossible. So as a live streaming tool, I would give it a very polite 3. I mean, I'm not prepared to say much more than that. But as a tool for usefulness in real life, I mean, I would give it as subject to 10 out of 5. It's my favorite site on the internet other than Spotify. I mean, I use it every day. It looks great. It's in HD. You get a file, and as you said, you get the video and the audio. You know, as a tool to use in everyday life for video conferencing, it's unbeatable. I still haven't found a better one. But given that this show is about live streaming, I'm struggling to recommend it for that. And given that we did StreamYard, which is so lovely, it's easy to use, and we send a file to Facebook and YouTube at the same time. We scheduled a day ahead. All my mates knew what was going on well before we were on live, and they could come or not. And the ease of use there was so glorious that it's hard to imagine any site beating that. But we're going to work ourselves through it. And next week, I'm very excited about this because subjects come on this week. We're going to talk about Restream, because one of the key factors, which we've talked about only marginally, is what I call multi-streaming. You know, the idea that we've done this live stream once, but StreamYard and BeLive and now Restream can send it to multiple places at once, depending on where people are. You know, my tribe's on Periscope and maybe Facebook. They're not on YouTube. They're not on Twitch. You know, so why bother sending it to them? But other people would have sites there. So Nick, I wanted to say that this week is about Zoom and mostly about Repurpose.io, but next week is about Restream and why you would bother repurposing in that sense live as opposed to taking the file and cutting it up. And so it's a good setup for next week. What do you think, Doyle? What do you think of the overall or use of case of Zoom?
I honestly, I would give it a 3 stars out of 5. I'm kind of with Hanny in terms of it's not necessarily a live streaming platform. And Erica, you said that too as well. Again, though, what I really loved was that feature was how do you actually connect it to have an interactive, engaging session? And to me, sometimes that's the most important part. So where does that leave me? I would say I would do it specifically for specific sessions where I need that tool, rather. And then other than that, I use some of the other ones as well. So I give it a 3 stars. Awesome. So it's been a fantastic show. Oh, actually, Keith, we can get in touch with you at Keith Keller, right?
Just at Keith Keller on Twitter and keithkeller.com.au. I'm desperately trying to get the .com. Someone else has it and I want it back.
Those bastards.
I can't get my own name. I can't get my own name as a .com, but I'm trying. I try every time, but at the moment it's .com.au. Right. And I've got, blogs there and all of that. But it's a good session, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, no, really fantastic. Appreciate it. Thank you everybody for joining. And if you're watching, please feel free to hashtag replay. If you have comments or questions, get in touch with any of us. I'm sure they'd be happy to answer questions as well as myself. So thanks everybody. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Yes. And we will see you guys online
next week.
Ciao.